Frail Fragment is a music podcast, but we talk about movies, entertainment, sports, whatever's on our mind, open stream of consciousness, in awareness, and making it a little comical on the side.
Frail Fragments, Monster Closet.
Hey, Jake. Yeah, I can hear you. What's up, man? Yeah, it sounds good on my end. I've had a guy do it over his PC, and it sounded pretty cool, you know. So yeah, so far so good.
Awesome. Yeah, I figured it would be better if I used like a studio mic.
Cool. Yeah, well, this is kind of welcome to the Monster Closet. Thanks for joining us. Just gonna do I'm just gonna do a quick little intro, and then we'll get started if that's cool.
Yeah, roger that.
Cool. So yeah, it's Monday, June 10th, 2024. This is the Monster Closet, episode 60. We are here with drummer extraordinaire of the Android meme, Mr. Jake Hamilton. Thank you for joining us today. How are you, brother?
I am doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. A little bit of a late night last night for a Sunday, but here we are. Here we are, bright and early for me, and I'm sure advanced into the day for you.
Oh yeah, like my day started at 6 a.m. and I was jamming last night actually till I want to say I got home at 12 o'clock at night, and fuck, man, yeah, I got to bed around 1, and I lost my voice fucking screaming, and yeah, I'm like, but we're building the energy, you know. I'm thankful to finally get to kind of talk to you, because you know I talked to Stefano, and I got to know him, you know, through the Monster Closet as well as Mateus. And now we have Mr. Jake Hamilton, the drummer. You're a great drummer, dude. I just wanted to throw that out there as well.
Oh, wow, man. That's so kind of you. Thank you so much, dude.
Yeah, man. I started, the Android meme were playing when Frail Fragment kind of started. We formed in around 2005, and we started doing shows in 2007 to, I guess, 2012. We did like 350 shows, so we were like really, really active. And the Android meme were playing shows too. We never really got around to playing a show together, but Mateus and my bass player Ian, my brother-in-law, Mateus knew them. Like he would go to like their house parties and shit. And this was before he was in the Android meme.
Matthias.
And Matthias, yeah, rather. And yeah, so they got to know each other, and they became friends, and Matthias joined the Android meme, and we never gotten around to doing shows. And then the Android meme and Frail Fragment kind of took a hiatus for a bit. I mean, I had a family, Ian had a family. Our drummer, like Ian and I, we just kind of decided one day to play again in 2017, and I started writing again, doing albums and whatnot, and the Android meme popped up again, right? So we started doing, you know, we played with you guys, I think, at the Hard Luck for Nuit Blanche. That was really cool. And I really liked Stefano and Matthias as people, right? I'm fans of them as people. And I consider them kind of like music family. I feel like I've known them for all my life. And you know, I'm in a different place in my life now, like where I want to play with people I enjoy working with too, you know. And you know, for sure they're on my list every time, right? So I want to extend that hand out to you, man, because you know you're a part of the Android meme too, and you're a great drummer and talented guy. How long have you been playing drums?
I started playing drums, I want to say 2002.
Okay.
I would have been 13 years old at that time. And
Nice.
my folks kind of the main story is that I as a young person, I always felt the pull to do something. Every young person wants to be really good at something. You know, we're always looking for that thing. Everyone's looking for their thing. You know, for a lot of kids where I lived, I grew up in a small town up north called Midland, Ontario, which is on Georgian Bay. And you know, a small community like that, you know, it doesn't offer a lot of opportunity. What you're going to do is usually going to be limited to a few categories. You know, you're usually going to be in sports because it's a hockey town. For a lot of my friends, very much that was the case. It was sports. Most of my friends were hockey players growing up. And then I had a couple good friends who were also really good soccer players. I had one friend specifically who was an extremely talented soccer player. To this day, probably the best soccer player I've ever watched in terms of someone I know take the field. And that, for a time, made me want to play sports, you know, and so for a long time, you know, I thought maybe sports would be my thing. So I tried to play soccer, and I played like a little bit of baseball. I really liked baseball as well. But you know, what came naturally for a lot of those guys did not come so naturally for me. I thought for a while it was like the fact that I'm a smaller guy. I grew up like pretty small, pretty scrawny guy, you know, like the pretty stereotypical pale white ginger kid. And I kind of struggled to find my way in that respect. And like, I wasn't fast. I wasn't very fast. When it came to soccer, like my ball control wasn't the best. I was actually not a bad goaltender actually in soccer. That was probably my strongest position. But it took me a long time to figure that out. And by the time I did, the interest was waning greatly in athletics. So I remember when I was in grade 9, I went and tried out for the high school team, and I ran around on the field with them for 15 minutes. And very quickly, it had been about a year at that point since I had played anything close to like a good game. And I was running around the field, and suddenly I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not built for this, you know, like high school soccer, the transition from elementary school is such a profound difference. Just like transitioning from high school soccer to college level is a profound difference. I realized that very quickly, and I was like, you know what? It's not for me. It's not my calling. Sports is not what I'm supposed to do. And very quickly I changed and looked towards something else, the arts. My mom always thought I was a really good drawer. For a time I thought maybe I would do drawing. But then I remember my dad, he was watching a concert DVD. My dad grew up and you know, grew up teaching this to me as well. He was a big Rush fan. Rush being, my family being from Toronto, having grown up in Toronto, and my whole family really coming up in Toronto, like during the late 70s and 80s, like Rush was just the band, you know, they were the Toronto band, they were the hometown band. And my dad was obsessed with Rush, and he got me obsessed with Rush at a pretty young age. And we were watching the Show of Hands concert DVD where with the Neil Peart drum solo, and I remember watching that on tape, and it just like hitting me really hard. And I just remember sitting there watching that and being like, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. And my parents tried to help me out. They were like, well, you know, if you really feel that strongly about it, maybe we can talk about getting you some drums. But, you know, drums, pretty expensive item, especially 25 years ago. And so I was like, well, in the meantime, I'll look around for the next best thing. So we had some guitars at home already, because that was kind of like a mild hobby in the household. My dad, though, is left-handed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
so I had a left-handed electric guitar, and I'm right-handed. So I had to learn guitar upside down, essentially. So
Yeah.
I had to learn all my chords backwards and everything, but I ended up still finding my way. Like I like, it became clear, like, even my parents saw it. They're like, whoa, like, he loves music so much that he is learning guitar upside down, and it's working. Like,
I should probably get him a drum set at that point.
yeah, so they were like, but they knew what I really wanted. Yeah, you're right, was the drums. So they got me a drum kit around 2002. I was around 13, and it was this little red Westbury percussion kit, just pretty cheap kit.
Yeah, that was my first kit.
Nice. Yeah, it's an affordable option. And we got a used one, and I literally, all I had to start was I had the 3-tom snare, kick drum, and then a hi-hat. I didn't even have a crash or a ride, but it was enough to get started and to learn the fundamentals. And I rocked that.
Did you have natural rhythm? Did you have natural rhythm, or did you have to work at your rhythm?
So my parents, pretty much, they got it. We set it up. I sat down, and my dad just said he was completely fucking blown away. Like, because
really?
I just sat down, and I instantly just understood the instrument. I was able to play a beat because even though I hadn't played drums before, I had been watching so much content.
That's crazy.
That I had already practiced in my head for like 2 years, and I had a understanding. And years later, I would discover that I have ADHD, and that was probably a significant factor in how I was able to, like, obsessively learn that instrument. But that's really how the story goes. And from there, by the time I was 14, I started playing live. Joined my first serious band when I was about 16.
Now, was this in Midland or in Toronto?
Yeah, in Midland.
Okay.
I started playing in Toronto when I was about 17. And the rest is history. I met Stefano and Matthias when I was 19 years old. I started playing drums in the Android Meme. Not long after that, I got introduced to them through a mutual music connection. A woman named Bailey. She.
Oh yeah, I know her. Bailey Northcott.
Yeah, Bailey Northcott. Yeah, so I often credit her as kind of helping me find my way in the music scene when I first moved down there on my own.
Nice.
And she introduced me to those guys, and and kind of from there on, the rest is history. And now I'm probably, like, I don't know, I'm 35 now, and I probably played around 1,500 shows and over the course of my life, and did my first tour when I was 19, and here we are.
What band were you touring in at 19? Was it Android Meme or another band?
Yeah, we started doing mini tours with the Android Meme when I was 19. I guess like if you really wanted to call it a tour, my first band, X Among Y, it was called. We were like a rock band with a female singer. We did some, like, little mini tours of Ontario. Really, that's about it. But
you guys have a mini. Sorry.
It wasn't until I was in Android Meme that we started transcending, like provincial borders and stuff.
Yeah. And you guys have a mini tour coming up. Who books the shows?
We really kind of all book shows. It depends. Back in the day, I used to book all of our shows. But I kind of for a time, I got overwhelmed with that. And it was, I don't know, I had a bit of
beast.
It's a beast, and I got kind of fed up with it for a while, and I felt like I wasn't able to get us the shows we needed to be playing. So I kind of stepped out of that for a while, and it was not long after that I actually left the Android Meme temporarily in 2011. I regrouped with them for 2 reunion shows, in 2014 and 2015 respectively. But we weren't like seriously being a band. We were more so regrouping for fun and, for the sake of the old days. And it wasn't until the pandemic where, we were locked in our homes and really brainstorming and started realizing, hey, we really want to do this again.
Cool, man. Yeah, the pandemic spawned a lot of great art and creativity, man. Like that's one good thing that happened from that, right?
Yeah, for sure. It was a tough time, a lot of people were sick, a lot of people lost their lives and stuff even.
Mental health too.
Yeah, mental health was probably one of the biggest parts of it. And then one of the things was like we didn't really agree with the lockdown. Not like, we weren't outrageous about it. Like some people we felt took it to the next level and, were a little bit silly about it. But overall, we felt that the way that it was being handled, not even so much by Canada. Like a lot of people really, they put like the whole thing on the federal government, but like in Canada, it was a lot different than in the United States, and in a sense that the provincial mandates, depending on where you were, you remember, like it was some of the provincial mandates were like very severe. Like Ontario was like very, very severe mandates.
I would have lost my job if I didn't get the second shot.
Yeah. Whereas like Nova Scotia like did not have very severe mandates for a long time, and like Manitoba did not have crazy mandates for a long time. Like, so it was really different wherever you were in the country. It depended. And Ontario under Doug Ford, for whatever reason, they chose to go fucking hard with that, and we were unhappy because we felt like it was destroying the arts community. And look at all the venues that were closing, right? Like it was rough.
Oh yeah, like a lot of bar and restaurant owners lost everything they had, man.
Yeah, and I say this with nothing but the greatest respect to our nurses and emergency people and anybody who had to do some type of at-risk job during that pandemic. I greatly respect and admire and appreciate. Even as far as police officers, I'm not known to be a huge fan of policing, but I'm not going to be immature about it, and I respect that people tried to do their due diligence and come together. But I'm just really glad the pandemic is all over.
Yeah. But I mean, I walk the streets of downtown Toronto. It's not the same anymore. The subways are a lot more unsafe, I think. It's going to affect people for a long time. Like this wave, I don't know. We have to look forward and evolve into something better, right? So that's the goal. But yeah, man, it was tragic, man. My wife went through a lot of shit. Like a lot of shit was triggered, and OCD came out in her. So I had front row seats to like all the effects that happened to her and myself. And then my son, like he was kind of a COVID baby where like he didn't leave the house, and now his immune system's all fucked up, and like he's like a year behind my daughter, so he was like he's sick every week kind of thing, like building his immune system now, like from that.
What are your kids' names?
Elliot, he's 4, and my daughter's Idalia, she's 7.
Oh, that's beautiful, man.
Thanks, man.
I love the name. I love the names. I especially love the name of your daughter. That's a beautiful name.
Oh, thanks, man. And I appreciate you saying that and asking.
Oh, you're welcome.
But yeah, it was tough. But I mean, at the same time, I kind of went crazy, and I was, I tell this audience, I was living in like I live in an 850 square foot fucking townhouse, and I was kind of pulling my hair out because I got sent home. The government said that get this vaccine because it prevents the spread, and that was the science behind it, and that's what I was swallowing to make myself feel better about being in line like a fucking animal getting jabbed, or I'd be taken out of the economy. So then when I get the jab a year late, dude, I got sick a lot this winter, man. Like it was bad.
Dude, me too. I shit you not. I got so my partner and I, we went on a trip in December of last year to the Southwest. We were down in Nevada and California, and
Cool.
you know, like whatever, it was a great time. But I before we left, about a week before we left, I got just to be on the safe side, you know, because you know they were talking in the States. They were like, oh, you know, it's bad again. The virus is going around again, and I was like, well, you know, I've always responded very well to vaccines historically. My body doesn't seem to take much issue with them. And you know, that's different for everybody. Some people are very sensitive to what's in vaccines, whereas my body has always responded quite well to them and has tolerated them. I understand that people are hesitant about vaccines, and everybody should have the right to be and the bodily autonomy to be. But for me specifically, you know, I made that choice because I have a history of being okay with them and tolerating them very well. So I got my third booster, or my third shot, which was, you know, what they call the booster. And we went, and the whole time I was in the States, I remember I was having issues sleeping. I was also at that time, I was changing over to a different medication that I was on for some mental health stuff, mainly ADHD. I was changing medications at the time to a better one, one that was like less, less intense, a little more natural. And basically, it could have been that too, but I do feel like a lot of it was like the shot I took definitely had, because it was like immediate, like days after, all I'm having is like insomnia episodes, like every night for like 5 days. And then, I get home. We're home for like a week and a half, and I get COVID.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. After getting the booster, I come home and I get COVID immediately, and it was brutal. Most people get really sick, you know, they get the cough and everything. I didn't get any cough. My COVID was literally, I just had a bad fever, and then and fevers don't really hold me back much, but it was the goddamn insomnia was nuts. Like, I could not sleep for the life of me, man. Like,
wow.
I was awake for like 3 days straight. Like, it was bad. I had to call my job and be like, hey guys, like, I know it's Christmas and we're gonna have a lot of work cut out for us, but like, I am not able to do it. Like,
yeah, man.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Just to switch gears, man. I heard the word around the campfire was that you're into like Electro Industrial and stuff like that.
Yeah. You know, I'm into a lot. But yeah, there was a part of my life specifically where I went very deep into that genre, and it was one of the genres that ends up even to this day being like extremely close to my heart. I have a real affinity for alternative industrial. You know, I really love. For some reason, I have a very, very, heartstring-oriented connection to the Chicago industrial scene, like the Cold Waves kind of vibe. And when I was on tour in the States back in 2019, 2020, I was touring with a band from Chicago who were an industrial band called Cyanotic, and they kind of opened my eyes to it a little bit more. We were playing shows with Pig, who is, for those who don't know, is Raymond Watts and N.Esh from KMFDM, and then Steve White, also formerly of KMFDM, and the drummer is Galen from Lords of Acid and Julian K. So it was like basically a super group essentially, and it was just like everything was like hitting right. It was like really getting my dopamine up because I'm with all these like Chicago industrial legends, you know. And
have you heard of DJ Lazarus from Toronto?
Oh yeah, Lloyd.
Okay.
I've met Lloyd a couple times. Yeah, he's
DJ Fink.
He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, sorry to jump in, but yeah, like I really started. So I'm 42. When I was 18, I was in a dark spot, and it was like that was kind of like the Napster age, and I was, you know, on ICQ, and I was kind of blind dating people in my basement, listening to world music, trying to find myself, and I started going like to raves, and I really identified with dark raves, and I could get in like at 18 years old, and I started going to like these, you know, the Vatican was around back on Queen Street, and there was a place called the Volcano Room, and then every first Saturday of every month they'd have a dark rave at the Reverb at Bathurst and Queen. It's gone now, and DJ Lazarus and DJ Fink were there, and dude, the shit that they were spitting blew my mind, and you know, it was awesome. It just felt like no one knew about this special party that was happening, and like all these people there were like just so happy to be there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's all good. Go ahead.
When I first moved down to for context, I was born in Toronto. We moved out of the city when I was very young, because we lived in a neighborhood that became particularly rough for crime at the time.
Where was that?
Down in Etobicoke. Near part of the lakeshore. It's really cleaned up now, very gentrified. But there was a little bit of a rough patch for a while back in.
Sure.
This was in the Long Branch area. And we moved up to where I still live. Actually, I moved back some years ago after living in Toronto for a bit. But when I first moved back to Toronto to pursue music as a career, I went to see a show. Actually, with Stefano, his wife Karina, and Matthias and we went to see Skinny Puppy. They were touring the Mythmaker album, and we saw them at the Phoenix Concert Theater, which I'm told is fucking closing, by the way.
Yeah, it's gonna be condos. You know, my band played there, and I used to go there every fucking Saturday night throughout all of my 20s.
Yeah, isn't that just tragic to hear stuff like this? Like,
bad.
Man, and
but I mean, I don't think they have I don't know. It's not the way it used to be though, as well. Like I did a lot of thinking about that because I have like some crazy memories there. I was Frail Fragment. Like Martin Street called me from the Phoenix saying, "Put on your radio," and he put on Frail Fragment, and he gave me like a fucking blurb for like 20 seconds. That guy was like my hero, man.
Oh man,
and that was at the Phoenix, right? So fuck.
I haven't seen that guy in so long. But yeah, I came out of that show, and Lloyd Warren was standing outside handing out pamphlets for Panic. This is when he was first doing Panic, I believe. This would have been about 16 years ago, and he hands me the flyer, and he goes, "You look like you'd go to a retro night." And I was like, "Yeah, I would go to a retro night." I was like, "You're DJ Lazarus, right?" And he's like, "I am." And I shook his hand, and I was like, you spin great shit, man. I just want you to know that I have a lot of respect for you. And he was just like, he was like shocked. He was like, "Wow, thank you. Like, that's awesome." And so I every now and then I would go check one of those out. We never really became like acquaintances really, but I've had him on Facebook for some years, and he's a nice fella, and he's a cool dude. He's got a lot of really deep, industry and like arts stories and stuff, and
he's fucking ingrained into the city, man. Like,
he really
from
is.
When I can remember, right?
He really is, for sure. But yeah, I love that stuff. I love the dark wave I'm
Yeah.
a huge Depeche Mode fan specifically. That's a band that's been very close to my heart since I was a teenager, and a band that I felt really got me through hard times in my life.
Yeah.
You know, we find that every now and then those bands that are able to speak to us in a way that, you know, sometimes can really be uplifting. And that was Depeche Mode for me. So yeah, I love that shit.
Nice. Jake, it was Jake Hamilton. We're going to keep it short. You got Vertigogo Wednesday, July 3rd in Hamilton. Is that correct?
You betcha.
We're doing shows with you, eh? Like Saturday, August 10th, we're going to play the Dakota in Toronto. That's a sick place to play. I don't know if you've ever played there.
Yeah, I love it. That's down on Queen East, isn't it?
No, it's Ossington and Dundas.
Oh, sorry.
It's in the basement. They redid their sound system. It's a really cool vibe there. We're going to do that. And we're going to do a Halloween show October 26th at the Atria with Phantom High. And that's going to be cool too, man. And Birdie's playing that show with us as well. But good luck on your tour, man. That's awesome. That I know it's a lot of work booking shows, and hats off to you guys. I'm proud to see that you guys have a lot of dates coming on this summer. Just a quick, they have a video out. Ben Rayburn directed it, and he did our video too. It hasn't been released yet. We're going to wait till kind of like Halloween to kind of spit that out. But Ben is awesome, and he did a great job. And I mean, your sound is great. Brett Carruthers is your kind of producer engineer, correct?
Yeah, he's we tried to produce a lot of our own stuff, but yeah, we started working with Brett last year because we wanted more ears on the mix, and I was feeling limited, and I was like, I want to look for new possibilities, and I love Brett. I've worked with Brett for years. I've known him since I was 15 because I was in a band with his brother in high school. So
oh wow, cool.
Yeah, so we go way back, and we really understand what each other want out of sound and out of a mix. So he was a natural for us, and then we're still working with Roger Leon out in New York for mastering. So
yeah. Stefano was telling me that's awesome, dude. Good things, man. Good things. We have a lot of parallels too. Like, I mean, yeah, like I was into sports and baseball, and then I, kind of switched into music. I guess it just, my dad gave me Nevermind, Nirvana, and Pearl Jam 10, and my life changed. And then that kind of like spiraled and became what it is now. Like fucking 30 years later, right?
It's a good couple albums to introduce you to. Sure.
Yeah.
That should start anybody on the path to rock and roll.
Holy fuck, dude, that changed my world. But have a good time. We'll see you in the future. TheAndroidMeme.com, FrailFragment.com. This is the Monster Closet episode 60, Monday, June 10th, 2024. Mr. Jake Hamilton, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to see you soon.
Thank you, man.
Take care, bro.
Len, I really appreciate you. Thanks, man.
No, we're going to reach out again. We'll do this again. I could talk to you for forever, right? But I mean,
for sure.
We'll save it for to be continued. You know what I mean?
For the sake of brevity, brother.
Peace out, man. Take care.
Peace out, brother. Take care.
Bye.
Frail Fragments, Monster Closet.